You know, these astronauts train and live right here in Houston, so we certainly have a very special connection to that mission.
And many people here excited to see a launch from American soil. Channel 2's Hannah McKenzie live at a watch party in Seabrook with folks who are gathered and anxiously awaiting. Hannah?
Yeah, anxiously awaiting, to say the least. We just saw a bottle of champagne being popped, so definitely everyone here very excited for this launch. We're joined here by Pete. He lives in this neighborhood. You can get up, Pete. So tell me about this neighborhood. You guys have a very strong tie to NASA. You're kind of known as Astro Hood, right?
We are. So this is Timber Cove. Our city is Taylor Lake Village. This neighborhood started back in the late 50s, early 60s when NASA was just starting with the main manned spacecraft center here. We had, I think, 4 of the original 7 astronauts and a lot of the original NASA employees that came here to start the manned spacecraft center. And just over the years, we've had lots of NASA people, lots of contractors, astronauts living here. So it's always cool when your neighbors are about to fly in space.
And that is more true than you could even imagine, because Ben Benke is one of your neighbors, correct?
Yep. Bob lives at the other end of the neighborhood.
Excuse me.
We'll correct that. And his wife Megan and their daughter Theo. Megan's also an astronaut. So kind of part of the tradition, not just astronauts living here, but astronauts' families.
And so you guys threw a little bit of a party for Bob as he was leaving, ahead of, heading to Florida. Talk to me about how excited you are to kind of watch one of your neighbors be launched into space today.
It's really cool. Like we say, when your neighbors are going to fly in space today, a lot of kids that grow up here are just used to their family, dad's flying to space this week. Okay, what's your dad doing this week?
So it's a little different, to say the least. You guys are, celebrating, having a lot of fun out here right now. The final countdown is on. I guess we're 14 minutes away right now. You work for NASA, so you know exactly what's going on right now. What do you do for NASA?
So I work in the International Space Station's program office. So these guys are going to my station. I work in the research office. So the commercial crew program is bringing us, it's rotating our astronauts so we can keep the crew members fully staffed on station and they can do the science for us.
Very cool, to say the least. Amazing, definitely cool. So Pete, we're going to be standing by. Hopefully we'll speak with you a little bit later as we get closer, or maybe just after the launch. I know we're waiting to hear if the weather will cooperate, but definitely, nonetheless, everyone's having fun out here, so we're going to throw it back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot. Popping the champagne bottle.
Already
saying things are a go. Speaking of ways to watch, you can check out multiple views of today's launch. We have a dedicated page right now on click2houston.com.
So you can pull out your laptop, your mobile phone. You can check out all the different views while you're watching us right here on air as well. And helping us to navigate this coverage this afternoon to give us more context and perspective is retired astronaut Greg Johnson.
Pretty neat. Greg joins us via Zoom today. And what an amazing day it is for the U.S. along with our space program. Greg, talk to us about the significance of this being back in American hands and on American soil.
This is an amazing day for NASA, for our country, and frankly for the world. This commercial crew program has been in place now for about 10 years. And we've been flying to the International Space Station since the space shuttle retired in 2011. We've been hitching a ride with the Russians. So this will mark the first time that we're going back to the International Space Station from U.S. soil on this really awesome updated spaceship.
And we know that you are a veteran of 2 space shuttle flights. So take us into the mind of the astronauts right now. And not just the fact that they're finally doing this, maybe, but the fact that they did have this delay. And how does that affect your psyche when you're getting ready for something like this?
Well, it does affect your psyche, that's for sure. I had a launch delay on my second flight. And so, but I think Doug Hurley had like 5 on his. Bob Binken right behind me on this photo, he and I were rookies on my first flight back in 2008, and we did not have a launch delay. We just went right on up on time. But so the astronauts now, they've been there a few days ago. They're now in the same place that they were. They're trying to focus themselves. They're confident. They're prepared. They're excited. They've got their game faces on. They're keeping their cool. Because this is going to happen in a few minutes.
Are they talking to each other? Do you typically try to have a little chit chat to lighten the atmosphere, or just you're laser focused?
Oh no, they're going to be chatting. Now, once you get to a certain point inside the countdown, with us it was 5 minutes prior to liftoff. Then everybody gets quiet, but they're probably still chit chatting a little bit. They're making sure that everything is just right. They're thinking about what they're going to do right at liftoff. They're going to be thinking through the different abort scenarios that are very unlikely to happen, but they're ready for it. And they're just also taking in the moment. This is a very exciting time for them. They've been assigned to the mission for almost 2 years. This is the day they've been waiting for. And we're really excited. I'm really excited. I'm just sitting here in my house in Houston, just down the road from Pete. And I'm really excited as well. I just can't wait.
And you know, we're under 10 minutes right now. Talk to us about the importance between this partnership between the private sector along with NASA and what this means for the future of space exploration.
Well, it's a natural evolution that when we do these exploration things, whether it's in the water, in the seas, in the air, now in space, it starts off with a government program, government subsidy. For Christopher Columbus, it would be Queen Isabella. And then pretty soon the commercial companies start getting involved and they make a business case out of it. And commercial companies can compete, use best business practices, and they can innovate at a much faster rate than perhaps a government can. So now we're in the phase in spaceflight where the commercial companies are building their own vehicles. They're competing. There's another commercial crew vehicle coming right around the corner that we're going to have a similar launch like this in just a little while. And we are getting better and better at going into space. And the partnership between the private and the public sector is key to this evolution.
And so what does this mean long term? We know that all these, as you just mentioned, other companies are coming forward. The space race is on again. But what does it mean for this particular flight? How big is this?
This is huge. And it's huge for about 3 reasons. One, it's a first flight. We've only had 4 prior first flights of a spaceship. This is the 5th time. So these are test pilots, highly trained military test pilots. And getting a first flight in an airplane is awesome. But these guys are getting a first flight in a spaceship. And this is the highest tech spaceship we've seen so far. I mean, it's like a Tesla, but in the form of a rocket. It's got electric touch screens. I mean, it's state of the art, and they're working with the very finest equipment. It's also a safer vehicle than we've ever had launching into space. So it's important because we're launching for the first time from U.S. soil. We're launching in a new vehicle, and we're moving a leap step forward in space exploration.
A sight to behold indeed. Greg, thank you so much for that insight. We're going to go ahead and check back in with our reporter, Roseanne, who's still out on the Space Coast. We, of course, will check back in with Greg in just a little bit as well.
All right, so Roseanne, we're getting close now. Talk to us about what the emotions are like out there.
That's right. Many people here, they at first were they had a healthy dose of skepticism, which we can all understand because Wednesday we all got excited, but now people are starting to feel like it may actually happen and they may be witnessing history. Like he said, the very first time astronauts will launch from American soil to the International Space Station with commercially built equipment. I'll tell you about those rockets. You know, we heard about SpaceX making these vehicles, the Falcon 9 rocket, the Crew Dragon capsule, like he says, has state-of-the-art touchscreen. But the updates that they did to the Crew Dragon are especially interesting. The Crew Dragon had been carrying cargo for 8 years, but they always knew they wanted to have crew on that. And so take a look at this video. You can see crew is now on there with the spacesuits that SpaceX made that plug directly into the capsule, and it gives them air, it gives them, you know, heating and cooling, and also allows them to connect with those there at SpaceX that want them to be safe. Those crews there are communicating, and all of those suits are going to be specifically tailored to each astronaut with all of the cords sleekly running through in a way that's very comfortable for the astronauts. Also, the Crew Dragon has a very important capability, the launch escape system. The shuttle did not have this, the ability to abort, which means take off from the Falcon 9 if there's anything wrong with the rocket. At any point from liftoff to getting into orbit, they can escape at any point, which is why they're looking at conditions on the Atlantic seaboard to see if they were to do that, would Doug and Bob be safe? that is the ultimate test there, and they are not going to go unless conditions are safe. But this vehicle is the safest vehicle, according to SpaceX, to take people into space, which is an incredible milestone from a science and technology perspective. Let's talk about those spacesuits, huh? Those spacesuits, according to Elon Musk, were made to inspire people. They were made to look cool, but also function smoothly. And so ultimately, the Commercial Crew Program is about taking things to the next limits, according to NASA, taking things above and beyond. We have Bob Cabana talking about that.
We want to establish a commercial environment in low Earth orbit so that we can focus on the hard job of exploring beyond our home planet, to establish that presence in our solar system beyond planet Earth, establish a sustained presence on the moon, get to Mars, establish a presence there. We can't do that if we're locked here in low Earth orbit. And Commercial Crew with both SpaceX and Boeing, that's the beginning of a whole new era of spaceflight.
And there you have it. With that, we will send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bro, I wanted to ask you real quick about the crowd, because we know because of coronavirus, they actually had to limit the amount of people who could be out there on the beaches in Titusville and Cocoa Beach, where you are. Talk to me about what you're seeing out there in terms of people actually still coming out.
Yeah, there are plenty of people here. A lot of them are wearing masks. We know as far as NASA, they have carefully quarantined Bob and Doug to make sure that they don't have any access to people who may or may not be carrying asymptomatic. Other people, as far as people watching on the beach, you know, they have said practice social distancing. Now, whether or not they're actually doing that, you know, it's really up to them. You can see behind me there are a ton of people, and they are very close together. But as far as NASA, they wanted to make sure that all of the teammates who are working on this mission have been very safe and taking all of those precautions.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Roseanne.
All right, we want to go back now to Greg Johnson, who's been helping us navigate this. He has done this a couple of times, so a veteran astronaut.
Greg, what are we thinking? We are about 3 to 4 minutes away now.
My heartbeat's starting to increase. I almost feel like I'm with them in the spaceship. They've definitely got their game faces on. They're thinking about what their procedures are going to be. They're confident in themselves, and they're proud to serve their country.
And Greg, a lot of things are going to be happening fairly quickly after launch if all goes according to plan. We've got 2 separations ultimately. The Falcon 9 itself is going to eventually separate and come back down to Earth out in the Atlantic Ocean on a barge. But, I mean, it's going to be some 19 hours before they actually reach the ISS, correct?
That's correct. But this is not a small vehicle. I mean, it kind of looks like it from TV. But it's a pretty spacious vehicle. You can fit 7 crew members in there. There's only 2 crew members in there now, so they've got some extra room to stretch out on that 19-hour ride to the space station.
And talk about this return flight.
The return flight, you mean from the International Space Station?
Yes.
Well, they don't know exactly how long they're going to be up there. Somewhere between 1 to 4 months is what I understand. I think it has a lot to do with the outcome of this launch, and then also the operations on the International Space Station. The space station is one of the greatest engineering feats of our lifetimes. 16 nations all over the world put it together, and it's a very complex vehicle. And so they're going to augment that crew. That now 1 American and 2 Russians. Now there's going to be 2 more astronauts, so a total crew of 5. And so the space station operation and the science that we're doing up on the space station will also weigh into that decision. Which we should mention, you were an integral part of constructing the International Space Station. It was an honor to be working with Bob on my first flight, and then with the STS-134 crew, the second to the last shuttle flight, to put together the space station. We had a total of 9 spacewalks, and Bob did 3 spacewalks on that first mission that we went up together a dozen years ago. But also, I had the honor of working with the International Space Station after I left NASA, working with the ISS National Laboratory. There's so much going on up on the space station. It's an innovation platform. We're learning how to live in zero gravity off the Earth's surface now for about 2 decades. But like Bob just said, the idea is to press on from this outpost and go deeper into the solar system.
All right, and with that, Greg, we're going to head and check back in with you momentarily because we are under 30 seconds away from this historic launch as the U.S. sends astronauts to the ISS from American soil.
We're going to sit back and listen and watch with you.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal. M1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket. Reports say all systems are go.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
M1D throttle up.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through max Q.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
And we heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for MVAC engine chill. That's getting the MVAC engine ready to light. That'll come at about 2:44 into flight. Right now, everything continuing to look good. Next major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine to continue to carry astronauts into orbit. Coming up in about 20 seconds.
M1D throttle down.
We heard we're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage. And we have MECO.
MECO.
2 Alpha.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
All right, we have stage separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now carrying Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to continue under the power of this second stage.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Which will cut off at SECO, or second engine cut off at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds into today's flight. So a little over 5 minutes to go still on this second stage. You heard the call out 2 Alpha, so they're now in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard, almost to Canada. Things looking good, though, getting good call outs, nominal propulsion on that second stage. Bob and Doug continuing to make their way into orbit.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Acquisition of signal in Bermuda.
SpaceX Dragon nominal trajectory.
All right, hearing nominal trajectory, so Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. Heard acquisition of signal Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
little over 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. Bob and Doug flying at more than 5,600 miles
Dragon
per hour.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Already almost 200 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Nominal trajectory continuing. And while they continue uphill, looks like we are getting a view of the first stage as well.
Yep, on your right screen, you can see that first stage with the grid fins deployed. It's making its way back to attempt to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, today. And we're just about a couple minutes away from the entry burn, and that's where 3 of the 9 Merlin engines do ignite to help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the landing burn, which is just a single engine
Dragon
burn.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
And you heard
Starting chill for entry burn.
there's that call out. They are still on a nominal trajectory on Dragon, still on second stage, and that's that MVAC engine on second stage on your left screen. Again, on your right screen is that first stage booster coming back towards our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO. It'll then be a little
Stage 2 propulsion is still good.
A little over 3 minutes until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper
Dragon
stage gets a
SpaceX
chance.
nominal trajectory.
Dragon copies, nominal trajectory.
Continuing to check in with Bob and Doug as they are on a nominal trajectory. Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage, starting that entry burn on your right screen. We should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there is that entry burn beginning. This burn lasts about 36 seconds long.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
While that entry burn continues, we're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. That'll be the second engine cutoff.
Stage 1
we'll
entry
be
burn
looking for
shutdown.
that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
Yeah, actually, just within Bob and Doug on Dragon. Right now, you can see the displays that they are seeing right now themselves.
Terminal guidance.
MVAC throttle step.
We are coming up 25 seconds or so away from SECO, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point.
Copy, Shannon.
You heard Shannon, so that just means they're in their final abort zones. If they were to abort at this point, it would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second
Stage 1 landing
cutoff
startup.
confirmation.
MVAC throttle step. MVAC shutdown. Stage 1 landing layer.
Confirmation of SECO's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You.
Dragon SpaceX nominal orbital insertion.
Did get confirmation nominal orbital insertion.
Nominal orbital
Stage 1 landing leg
insertion.
deploy.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship, where our first stage will be coming down. Looks like we lost that live view, but we'll wait for confirmation of that landing shortly here.
Falcon 9 first stage successfully landed.
And there you can see on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed This is the first Falcon 9 to carry humans to orbit, so very exciting for us. And as you can see on your right screen, Bob and Doug are still making their way to their targeted orbit.
M1D to recovery 1.
So exciting today.
M1D.
It doesn't stop.
It does not stop.
All right, we did hear again that call out, good orbital insertion, so that means Falcon 9 and Dragon right now exactly where they're supposed to be.
M1D to FRC on recovery 1.
And it's right at about 12 minutes when Dragon will separate. Looks like we saw a 0G indicator floating around there. I know Bob and Doug owe us a little bit about what exactly that is that they brought up with them.
And before separation, before Dragon initiates separation from the second stage, they do make sure to they do ensure that the vehicle is not spinning and it is in good condition before we separate.
That's right. The upper stage does small attitude maneuver using some cold gas thrusters built into the rocket body itself.
Exactly. So we do expect that separation to occur in about a minute from now, but they do wait until they have full confirmation that it is ready to separate. Such cool views. I cannot get over this view that we are seeing right now. Bob and Doug on the right screen inside of Crew Dragon out in space.
Yeah, already 200 kilometers over planet Earth, or a little over 124 miles, traveling in excess of 2,700 meters, 27,000 meters per second, or about 16,000 miles per hour. So again, we're just standing by. That separation event should be coming up shortly. Then they'll begin a series of checks on the Draco thrusters that are going to be used to maneuver and then power Dragon on its flight to the International Space Station. Standing by for separation.
Expected loss of signal, wallops.
It sounds like we had an expected LOS, loss of signal, with one of the ground stations. Waiting for confirmation now of that.
Dragon separation confirmed.
Dragon separation confirmed.
There is a great view right in front of you of Dragon separating.
Separation confirmed.
And there's that call out. Dragon is now officially making its way to the International Space Station today.
Dragon SpaceX with that separation call. We have a few words for you from our Falcon 19.
Standing by.
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon to ground. Bob, Doug, on behalf of the entire launch team, thanks for flying with Falcon 9 today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
Thanks, Bala. Congratulations to you and the F9 team for the first human ride for Falcon 9, and it was incredible. Appreciate all the hard work, and thanks for the great ride to space.
Copy all.
Bala and Mike, proud of you guys and the rest of the team. Thank you so much for what you've done for us today, putting America back into low Earth orbit from the Florida coast.
Copy all. Good luck. Godspeed.
All right, we did it. American astronauts launching from American soil for the first time since July 8th, 2011, on their way to the International Space Station.
9 years since the last time that happened. An incredible sight to see and just to behold right now.